Good morning, everyone. I might not be awake just yet, but hopefully we'll all be awake quite soon. I actually don't like that music. I'm going to change it. I do have my iPad on my lap. I'm not just staring off into space. So today, I thought we would make some bookmarks for Mother's Day. That was what my mom wanted for Mother's Day tomorrow. And I have been procrastinating a little bit because of the weird weather we've been having. It's been kind of warmish in the afternoon, but really soggy and gross in the mornings. And it's not great watercolor weather. It's what we kind of call the May grays or the June glooms in this part of the United States. And so I have been kind of wanting to wait to see how the weather would play out before I started anything. But today it's a little bit nicer. It's dried out quite a bit, so there's still plenty of time to get those done and sealed so that all of our lovely finger oils that go on bookmarks won't be damaging the watercolors themselves. Sorry if I'm futzing with my shirt. My rabbit sort of like pulled out my neckline this morning. It'll get fixed when I wash it, but I'm like, ugh. Right now. Anyways, normally I'd have you all sort of help me pick the design for these bookmarks, but because they're from my mom, I asked her what she wanted, and this is what she picked. So this was the one from about a week ago that we did on Tales of Adventure, and it did come out really cool. I'm a little nervous about how I can get this onto bookmarks, only because how it plays out tends to be kind of relative to how fog is. And she was like, I want this one. I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. So we'll see what happens today, but otherwise it should be a lot of fun. If things get dried enough, I will show you all how I like to kind of wrap things. I've got some fun washi paper here, and we'll definitely do the wax seals and things today. I'll probably practice with some blanks. That way I don't have to worry about pulling these off before they're dry. I do have them taped down so they look like panels. Yes, and we'll just see how far we can get today, and it'll be fun. It will be fun. So yes, and I'll get you guys with the camera all set up. There we go. As always, if you all can't hear the music, it's too early in the morning. I don't know if you can tell, I'm not wearing my hearing aids. So if for any reason you're like, Chelsea, turn that down, or turn it up, we can't hear it, but we'd love to, you just let me know, because I won't know what's going on. And I will be snacking on breakfast every now and again, because around here it's about 7:45 a.m. So I'm hungry. But I do try to keep food out of the art space, so it is just a protein bar. Okay. So, unfortunately, you all won't get to watch this while I'm doing it, but I do like to kind of see forgetting the word for this. The meds haven't quite kicked in. Remember that one Saturday where I was like completely unmedicated for hours, but I did have coffee and I was just so hyper. We're kind of like that today. Test image? We'll go with test image. You won't be able to see me reference my test image, but it will be like off in the corner, because I want to try to do similar things on these bookmark panels. And I have them spaced out, I don't know, maybe that's 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, let's go with 3/4 of an inch. That way when they're kind of together as a set, it does look like about sort of the same image. Obviously, they're a little shorter, a little bit, no, I guess they're a little bit longer. But we're going to get kind of the same effect. And I already drew in my my water line. And I decided I kind of wanted to go a little bit higher, because I just felt like I was pushing those trees a little too much. But it would be kind of fun to have a nice washed out water line going down there. So And you can always like pull in the rocks a little bit. It's not a big deal. Okay. So we're going to start with a wash. I think I'm going to go in with this brush. I'm checking it because I can't remember. It must have been a couple weeks ago. I used it for a glitter wash, and the particular gold paint that I used for that kind of glitter shimmer is notorious for not coming out of my brushes. And I would hate to put it on here and then just be like, huh, guess it's a glitter forest now. Never going back. Because it really doesn't come out after that. It's permanent. Some things I can get back out when things get messy, but other things, nope. And that's kind of one of them. So I'm going to wash out the top half first and then blend. That way, I kind of have a consistent bit of sky going on together, just like I kind of would have with the test image. Excuse me, I feel like I'm suddenly losing my voice. Because we do want it to seem like it's one uniform image, even though they're 3 separate bookmarks. Okay. Come on, shirt. Alright, and I don't want a whole lot of gray going on here. I'm going to kind of start it in the corner. Pick separate areas to start it in. And then just kind of blend from there. Because when you've got kind of this misty, cloudy sky, things are going to kind of change and shift and look different at different times. So we're just kind of throwing stuff out there and seeing what sticks. There. And then just blending it out. I feel like this one could have been a little darker. So I'm going to adjust that slightly. And it will dry much lighter, so that's the other thing that I need to consider as I'm doing this, is that it might look really dark right now, but it's not going to stay that way. Like, I had to go back in and layer sky even after my forest was done. And that was such a pain in the booty. So I'd almost just rather do extra wash now than later. I'm not too worried about it being perfect down here because that's where the trees are going to go. And that's where the water is going to go. So I'm not going to end up seeing it anyways, but I do want the upper part of the sky to be as clean as I can get it. Nice clean wash, because otherwise I am going to see that later and it's not going to look nice. Something I didn't do before, but I kind of want to try now, because this is a kind of like a nice beige bookmark, is throwing in some blue with that sky. So just sort of like the opposite of wherever I put that gray, just blending back up blue. And again, it's going to dry really light. Probably not going to see much of this. And it's okay if I get it down here because I'm going to put blue in the water too. So it's not a big deal. Okay, so that's going to be on this side. Well, it's almost too dark, but that's okay. Trees are going to go there. We're not going to see it. And when there's a misty forest, there's always kind of some parts will be darker than the others. Not the end of the world. for some things to look different. Okay. There we go. Looks pretty cool. Alright. Kind of like working with the bigger brush, so I'm going to keep going. Something I did the first time, and it ended up being really annoying, is that I waited until later to water in my blue for the water. And so I'm going to try to do the opposite this time and just see what happens. And then layer green on top of it instead. I originally did that because I wanted the green to be the most prominent effect. Then it ended up being really annoying because I kept having to put green back in to make sure that things were like blending appropriately. And so I don't want to do that this time. I don't want to have to deal with it basically. Because I'm lazy. That's really the only reason. Sometimes you just gotta be lazy. I think that's gonna blend really well with the sky. That part right there. That looks nice. I'm really gonna have to wash this part out though. I put way too much paint on there. Whoops daisy. It's alright, I can bring some over here. Okay. Yes, indeedy, a Saturday stream. I actually managed to get Saturday side quest on a Saturday. I know. Go figure. While I'm working in the water and it's still wet, I'm gonna put a little bit of green in here just to sort of start getting our trees. Not a ton though, because I don't know where my trees are gonna end up just yet. I just kind of tinting the water more than anything else. So like, there'll probably be a tree here. Cameron, are you awake and alive yet just yet? You were very sleepy last night. And something over here. Ooh, that side's You're awake now. Or, oh yes, you were very sleepy. Or both. Put a little more green here because this part's going to end up being really dark. I don't want to use too much black, but I do kind of want to start to... Things are going to get dark here. Dark and kind of muddy. Both. The coffee is flowing strong. Yes. Coffee is life. Okay. So I'm going to leave that water alone now. And have some coffee of my own. Now that we're talking about coffee. Stream elements, I think you're preaching to the choir on that one. I think everyone here already does, but that's okay. After a snack here, I think we're going to start doing a bit of... I've sworn I fixed that. That's okay. Some shadowy trees off in the background. I think that would be good. We'll do that next. Yes. Okay. Sometimes after I clean my brushes, they dry all clumpy. Don't know why. It's always annoyed me. Don't like clumpy brushes. Okay. Let's get some washed out trees going on here. More water. There we go. But now I want it more washed out. That's better. Okie dokes. There's kind of like a bigger tree here. Being all kind of blobby. Bloop. Okay. And then there was kind of one next to it. Here we go. There's kind of a little one here. Just making some forests. Need more water. There we go. Okay. And off to the side here, we're gonna kind of do another tall tree. We'll do a little baby tree. Everybody needs a baby tree. So you know I didn't sleep last night. Okay. And don't think we're gonna get to that cool looking one there, but we'll do some middle-sized looking trees here. That will be fine. One there, like another one there. Okay. I know they look kind of wonky, but they're gonna get washed out a lot. And some of them might get pulled a little bit more into the foreground, but for the most part, it's all background. We do not care one iota, because I'm about to do this. Okay. Be smudgy. There you go. Okay. And I do want it to like really bleed on those. So now we wait. Wait for smudgy trees. I feel like this one needed a little help being smudgy. This side probably dried just a little bit too much. So I'm just gonna kind of help it along. It happens. I didn't get there fast enough. Just gonna I guess I'm gonna add something to the background then to try to help things not look weird. There we go. Now we have a background tree. At least one background tree. Okay. Sometimes things get strange. Okay. Not that strange though. As things blur, I sometimes go in and sort of like guide where I want it to be, because I don't want it to just do whatever. I do want it to do something that looks like trees. So I'll kind of like step in. Be like, no thank you. Okay. More coffee. So I do need to wait for it to fully dry here before I can do anything else. Which means we get to chat, yay! So Cameron, I think it's just you and me right now. I'll check. But you could tell me more about Zelda. Because apparently it's the most amazing game ever. And I am very seriously missing out on not playing Zelda ever and anon. And you can tell me all about that. Oh, my friend has shared with me there's such a thing as tungsten dice, although I don't know why you'd want one. It's very interesting. Zelda is hands down the best game ever to be created. I can't believe you've never played. How can you say you have lived? Ah, rude. First of all, sorry. Well, first of all, I didn't grow up playing video games. I don't suppose many of our generation really did. Maybe they did. I don't know. Because, like, video games have been around for a while. Um, but, like, we didn't have a console. Not really sure what consoles would have even been out when I was a kid. I think the Wii came out when I was in high school. You guys remember the Wii? Were you like, I don't even know. So I guess there would have been a PlayStation, Nintendo, or whatever. I don't know things. I read books, okay? I did book things, you know, physical things and watercolor, okay? That was, no. All of you with your, like, it's not real stuff. Nintendo when we were young. Yeah, we had, like, I don't know. Anyways. Nintendo's a thing, right? Hold on, I need a napkin thingy. Make some mist here. As things are starting to dry, I'm gonna start pulling up some color to create some elements of like mist and fog and swirling things. And we'll see if I can pull color from over here. If you've just joined us, oh well, shoot, I'm probably gonna need more water now. If you've just joined us, we're creating bookmarks from our mom. She wanted to do this one design that we started a couple weeks ago, and this one's fighting me. Playing outside was the best one. Yeah, I feel like that was just kind of what we did. Not that I'm a teacher, so it's not like my students don't play outside. A lot of them are very into bicycles right now and doing all kinds of like competitions with their bicycles. I don't really understand. But I guess it's kind of like when we were kids and we used to go out and like build ramps and race each other around the neighborhood. I guess it's comparable. I don't know, but they like, it's like an official competition now. Middle schoolers. Anyways, so what was I saying? But yes, they still go outside and play. But I feel like that's like all we did. It was just sort of like, oh, you're bored? Bye. There's the front door. Because I know that's what my parents did. And I kind of hated it. I didn't like outside. I mean, I love nature, and I would gladly go on a hike if someone invited me. But like, just to be sent out into the neighborhood, what a nightmare. But I feel like that's kind of the neurodivergent brain talking there a little bit. Like, I don't want to just go be social on a whim. There's got to be a plan for that. I need like spoons. I need my spoons in an order and know that I have spoons for this. I don't want to just be like kicked out in the neighborhood on a whim. Someone in the audience will understand what I'm saying. Okay. I don't like doing this kind of misty stuff like by a brush because I feel like you laughing at my not wanting to go outside on a whim. Hush, Cameron. Or I'll never make you another painting ever again. Rude. Cameron's bullied me. Tell Tori. Just kidding. I wouldn't do that. She wouldn't care. She'd think it was funny. Actually, it could be Corey that just joined us. I don't know. I need to check. There's got to be a way that I can like see who's in the chat without having to come up here and click every few minutes, because it's really annoying to be working on watercolor and then, let's see. Oh, I can't really tell. That's fine. Whomever you are, welcome. I'm being angry at this watercolor because now I've rubbed so much napkin Kleenex tissue on it. It's like piling. It's gotta be a better way to do. Anyways. Oh no, they left. Sorry. Sorry, friend. whatever. Now it's just us. Just kidding. Whoever's texting me must be very insistent. On the bright side, it's another like 15 minutes until all those vitamins kick in and I'll no longer be weird. Oh, okay. It wasn't an emergency. I hate that. I hate when people are just like, Chelsea, this thing. And I'm like, you couldn't have waited like half an hour till I could actually like... Of course, I do the exact same thing, so I can't really complain. Anyways, it's the two halves of the brain. The ADHD brain is like, I totally get it. I do the exact same thing. But the autism brain is just like, really? I was in the middle of a thing. You couldn't have just like contained yourself for 5 more minutes? I don't know if you all ever feel like that. Like you have two selves or just in constant conflict. Okay. We have been sitting here just waiting for this thing to dry for like 10 minutes now. Oh no, my coffee got like gelatinous. That's like my new favorite word right now, gelatinous. Because I've been looking up what I would do if I wanted to make like a sensory jar. Here, I'll show you. This is my personal one. A sensory jar that was a gelatinous cube. I've been curious about that. Like, what would I put in a sensory jar if it was a gelatinous cube? Cameron, I know you don't really play Dungeons and Dragons. That's like not your jam. You're a Zelda man. But what would you put in a jar that was a gelatinous cube? There must be something that you would put in there. Okay. Well, while you're thinking about that, and I'm contemplating why my brains don't like each other, I'm gonna layer in some more water, I think. Oh, I need a larger brush. I'm gonna start... Yes, I think this one. This one's still wet from when I cleaned it. What? That is quite strange. Ooh, eyeballs. Where would I get eyeballs, though? I have to think about that one. Where would I get eyeballs? Sorry, my foot fell asleep. Amazon. Oh, yeah, I'll Google that later. I love how... I was just thinking about the word Google. I'm going to Google on Amazon. But our generation has grown up with certain things. You'll understand what I mean. Certain things have become like the standard concept for... I don't know. I'm going to turn slightly. Sorry, guys. I think just, you know, like, Googling is being the concept for, like, searching stuff up, right? Like, that's our standard response to whatever. Because once upon a time, Google probably was the only search engine, I think. I'm trying to remember. That was too long ago. Too old for this. Just kidding. But, and so now that's like the response to just mean like searching it up online. Like, I'm gonna go to this website and Google. Like, it makes no sense really, but that's just kind of what we call it. I think it's interesting. Like, we have an entire generation, or even just like a section within the generation. Like, I think you and I are kind of in the middle of the millennial group. But like, have you ever watched the youngest section of millennials try to communicate with the oldest section of millennials? It's kind of funny. they like can't. Because yes, it's painful. They like, it's almost like watching two different generations trying to interact in a way. I think it's fascinating. Because like that youngest couple of, it's like that transition year between Gen Z and our millennials. It's like they've learned a little bit of Gen Z's slang, and they grew up so much in the technology, so like they like kind of remember a world without it, but they're used to the technology. Whereas you and I, like, we remember completely a world without technology, and many of us, even though the technology was there maybe when we were teens, we might not have had it in our household, depending on how our parents felt about it. Like, my parents were anti-technology. Like, we didn't even have internet until I went to college, and then my parents were like, you know what, maybe it would be helpful for you to have a computer and internet at home. So I'm kind of clunky when it comes to certain things, even 10 years later, because I didn't grow up with it. I'm not used to it. But then there's others that are about our age that are totally fine around technology. Like, you tease me about not playing video games, but I didn't grow up with that stuff. So I'm just not used to having it around. But there's others that would have been playing video games, you know, on the computer, online. They remember dial-up. Like, I can't relate to the whole dial-up internet thing, even though it would have been around when I was a kid. Yeah, I was brought up like a cave woman. Rude. But some of us just didn't have it. And, you know, the older generation of millennials, oldest section, they definitely didn't have it, because by the time it was like a common thing that even the middle class or lower class could have afforded stuff like that, you know, they would have been high school, college anyways. So like they definitely wouldn't have had it. So I think it's interesting, because like stuff just picked up so fast that like it's almost like the millennial generation is generations within itself. So watching us all try to communicate, it's so funny. Anyways, that's my rant. And this bled a little bit, but I think we're gonna be okay. 'Cause mist. And we're gonna put rocks in here anyways. And it kind of did that before, so I'm not that worried. Okay. This one's gonna be weird, so I'm gonna do that one next. I can get like a bee in my bonnet every now and again about like generations, because it's just so fascinating. And it's always surprising to me too which generation will, I'm like still hung up on this, I'm sorry. You all can all give me a new thing to get hung up on if you want. But it's always so fascinating to me which generation ends up being like really good with tech. And I know it's like a stereotype that it will be the younger ones, but more often than not, it's not. Like, as a middle school teacher, just let me tell you, so many of my kids can't even do like very simple things, but they'll be good at other stuff that I wouldn't have even thought of. So it's almost like there's a specialized understanding of technologies. Like, my students can hop around the internet like there's no tomorrow. You'd be surprised what kind of stuff they instinctually know how to go find if they needed it. But like, can't work their way around a Google Doc to save their lives. So I just think that's fascinating. Like, how their understanding of different things. Like, they can't upload a document. Thank you for the follow. I don't know if you're interested in our rant or the watercolor. But thank you for following and welcome. Oh, I think we just got to 20 follows. I have to go check. I actually haven't been counting. I'm really bad about that. Numbers are hard, guys. Also, I'm really hyper because I'm ranting. Anyways, but yeah, it's just interesting, like, who's good at what. Back in the old days before COVID, when I was working at a law firm, I did some tech stuff because I was working in the mailroom, and you often had to know how to fix like the different computers and the printers and different things like that. And I was always surprised at like who could fix the really complex stuff and who was just like, I don't know, you press a button and it does things. And it was never the people you would think, right? Like some of the older generations could take a printer apart in 10 seconds flat because it was mechanical, and it was also very technical, right? Oh, okay. Cameron, have a good time at the Cairo. I always feel so much better after the doctor. You're from Spain. Shy to show your face. That's a good question. Well, I know there's ways to do it. I mean, it depends on what you're thinking of doing. Gracia, are you thinking of doing art? Because, you know, there's a lot of streamers that do art, but they have like their voice off camera and then they're just showing the art portion. That way, if you're not comfortable being like on camera with your face, you don't have to. Personally, I kind of like it because I tend to be very expressive with my hands. Someone called me out for being Italian, and that part's true. So if you don't want to be on camera, painting, yeah. So what I would do then is if you don't want to be on camera, just don't do it. That way, you have like your camera on your painting or whatever you're working on for that day. Make sure you have nice audio so that your listeners can hear you really good. And then, you know, just don't worry about it too much. And then you don't have to be on camera if you don't want to be. I've seen a few different streamers who have done it that way, and it's still very entertaining. And then, you know, just chat with whoever's in the chat with you for that day. It's no big deal. I feel like I've done it that way once or twice when I couldn't get both cameras working, and we were just fine. So no big deal about that. And I know there's times where I've been shy about being on camera, and one of the things that I would do to boost my confidence is that I would get like my hair up and nice the way I liked it, or I'd even do my makeup like I was going to work, and that would just help me feel a little more confident about things. Because even though I know that a lot of people kind of don't care, they're just here for the art and hanging out, it would make me feel better. And then that way I would feel confident enough to just relax and, you know, hang out and have some fun. Yeah, no worries. Happy to help. Feel free to throw in questions. I love chatting with people. A lot of times early morning on a Saturday, things are really quiet. So I'm kind of glad you guys are really chatty today, because I'm used to just like chatting to myself. And I'm not going to lie, I come up with some really random things to talk about. Like the generational differences between millennials, and that one was on me. What was it the other day that I was like randomly talking about? I don't even know, but I come up with some really weird things. So yes, feel free to ask questions, because otherwise I will come up with some really weird stuff. But it's okay. It's fun to be a little strange sometimes. So yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to need to let this sit again because I don't want my water to bleed. I'm noticing that camera's doing that weird thing where it doesn't pick up the colors very well. I'm going to have to fix that later. That is one thing that if you're starting out, is make sure your camera likes to pick up color really well. I don't know why this one doesn't. It's supposed to be really good for painting, but sometimes it likes to be just a little bit obnoxious. So today it's being obnoxious. I wonder if it's the lighting. Nope. Oh, yes, it was. Okay. Nitpicking my lighting there. That was better. Okay, good. What do you know? Fix the lighting, the camera's happy. It happens. Okay, coffee time. Excellent. All right here. So I think, let's see, what time is it? Oh yeah, we're fine on time. Oh, no worries. Yeah. Um, so let's see. Do I have anything where I could show? Here, let me grab some tape. Okay. Um, so there's different tapes that you can use because I'm using like a thicker cardstock here, but even if you were using watercolor paper, um, I would use, I actually don't know what brand this is. It's worn off by now, but I would look up just artist tape. So this is it's just white, and you'll know you have the right one if when you peel it off the roll, I don't know if the camera can pick it up quite right here in the sliding, but it's like semi-transparent. There we go, with my finger there. So if it's not, you have painter's tape, and that's okay. It's not a big deal. I've used painter's tape too. I tend to use it when I'm using the really thick papers. That way I know there's not going to be any warping. Whether or not you tape down your watercolor paper is kind of a matter of personal opinion. Some people want to tape it, some people don't. Personally, I almost always tape it because I do a lot of washes, and I hate when my washes warp. So personally, oh, thank you for the follow, Apollo. So personally, I would always tape if I'm going to wash, but it really is 100% a personal opinion. So I would experiment. Hi, Apollo. So, try it once or twice. If you like it, go for it. If not, then you know that taping is not your thing. I'm good. How are you? Happy Saturday. We're talking about taping versus not taping. I got this one at my local art store, but I know places like Amazon have it. Again, I feel I've had this one for a while, so I don't know what brand it is. But there's just several different ones, and I don't feel like one brand is better than another. And because it's art tape, it's already less tacky than normal tape. So I'll take a little bit and I'll actually put it on here. This is really wet, so it's not really gonna show like normal. I'm demonstrating how to take tape off of an art project. So I'm just laying it right on top of the one I already have. So the way I personally like to pull it off, because if I have done tons of washes, it does sometimes have a habit of sort of, I think of it sort of like when you're cooking and you put on like icing or a Jello wash or anything that's like sort of gelatinous in nature, where it sort of gloops on. It kind of tends to stick if you do a lot of washes, and I tend to do washes a lot when I'm painting. It's just kind of the effect that I personally like a lot, and so sometimes my tape will kind of stick on there. So the way I do it is I will peel from the paper out. That way I know I'm not tearing the paper, and then I'll just go like that. Because I don't care if it hurts the hardboard. This stuff is so cheap. Like, I don't care if it hurts the hardboard, right? This stuff back here. Don't care. But I do care if it hurts the painting. So I'll peel gently away from the painting, and then just, once it's free, I rip. Because it really is, it's like, it's not tacky. If you do end up with painter's tape, I would do it the same way, but before I would apply it, I might do something like stick it to my shirt. That way it's not as tacky before I put it on the painting. That way there's less chance of it pulling off bits of the painting when you remove it later, especially if you're doing paper. If you're doing it on something like aquaboard, who cares? It's almost impossible to ruin aquaboard. Plus, it's so thick. It's like taping down cardboard. You'll be fine. Or if you're using it on canvas, You'll be fine. You'd want to use painter's tape anyways. So yeah, don't stress. But on paper, and if you've got painter's tape, just tack it on your shirt. And if you're really worried about the artist tape, because sometimes, I don't know why, but certain brands will come up with high tack artist tape. I couldn't even imagine why I would want something like that. But maybe someone out there did want something like that. Same thing, I just tack it on my shirt and get a little, like those little fuzzies from your shirt, or even from like a comforter blanket on your bed, something like that, the carpet even, and then tack it down and you'll be fine. So no stress. And that's the fun thing about artist tape, is that it's designed specifically for paper, so it's not supposed to take the paper off when you remove it. But it's going to prevent bleed too. So if you like that border too, and you're just trying to create a border, you'll be good. Sorry, that was a long-winded way of saying. I feel talkative today. Talkative is good. All right. This is definitely dried quite a bit now. So I'm going to go in and start adding some extra trees. Yeah, of course. No worries. I love answering questions. Yes, it was a very long explanation. But I do love questions. So the thing about being a teacher is that we like questions. So ask us things, because that's what we're here for, is sharing information. Even if we don't know what the answer is, we'll try to help you figure it out. So we are putting this onto Bookmarks for those of you who have joined us in the last bit or so. This is what my mom wanted for Mother's Day, is bookmarks like this. So we're taking this painting I did a while ago, and we're putting that onto this. So right now we're kind of working through putting in our first kind of layers of water and trees, and now we're going to kind of bring that bit of background forward here just a little bit. Trying to decide what layers I want to do first. At this point, it kind of doesn't matter as much where I go next, but I think I kind of want to do the rocks. So I'm going to start layering in some bits of rocks. Actually, I think I want to do a slightly bigger brush, because I can always blend things out later. And I just want to make sure that things are truly as dry as I think they are. I still have some fuzzies on here from when I was making, hold on. We were making some fog earlier, and every now and again I will get some fuzzies, and I don't want those fuzzies to stay. So I'm just going to try to get those fuzzies off. I don't think they're picking up on camera, but I just wanted to share that I wasn't just randomly rubbing my painting. I wanted fuzzies to go away. Maybe I am randomly rubbing a painting. You never know. Okay. So I've got some brown over here in my palette. I know you all can't necessarily see what I'm doing, but I'm just washing it out quite a bit because I want to go in light at first. Yes. Oh, now I'm thinking of that old... Is it a rhyme? Where did I learn this? My dad used to say it all the time. The fuzzy wuzzy was a bear. I don't know if you all ever do that one. My dad used to say it all the time. I wonder where he learned it. Somewhere, I suppose. Okay. So right now I'm just kind of doing kind of loopy, blobby shapes. I'm not necessarily being very specific with them, because I'm going to let them kind of dry themselves out and just sort of see where things go. And eventually they're going to become rock formations. But right now we're just kind of throwing things out there, making it kind of look like hills and things. And eventually we're going to get all these fun rocks. More fuzzy wuzzy. The other day I was straight up singing Pete the Cat. See, this is what happens when I'm left alone. I end up singing strange songs. Especially when I'm left alone and I have coffee. guess I come up with strange things to do by myself. I do feel like I'm gonna have that nursery rhyme stuck in my head now. Okay. Ooh. That's gonna be an interesting rock over here. Actually, I think I'm gonna make that a little bit taller. There we go. Yeah. Let's arch that a little bit, actually. I see this one wants to bleed, but we can always clean that up later. It's not the end of the world, it's just annoying. So what that means is probably there was some water still hanging out. That is kind of the thing of cardstock, because it holds onto water quite a bit, which can be good because if we're doing watercolors, we do want things to be quite watery, but when we want it to be dry, then things get kind of annoying. Okay, so I'm going to go in with a smaller brush now, and starting in the middle, because that's where I started with the rocks the first time, I'm going to just very lightly start brushing in where I kind of want shrubbery to be. Again, I do need wait for things to be, it should be wet, you mean. What did I say the first time? I'm not even sure now. Probably. I probably mean wet. Yes, probably. It's still early here. I don't think I've woken up just yet. I do probably mean wet. Thank you. Thank you for keeping me honest and more aware of what I'm saying. I don't even know now. Yeah, wet. Probably wet. So I'm just dotting in some shrubbery here of where I think it'll probably play out. Again, just lightly, because we're going to layer. And I don't want things to be, thank you, yes, too crazy, because I don't want my rocks to bleed. I want to be able to see where that line is later. And I don't want my shrubbery to be too dark because, oh, see, that did bleed a weird bit. Okay, I'll probably have to cover that with shrubs later. Well, we shall see. I do know that a lot of trees are going to end up in here, so it might not be that big of a deal. I might have just had too much water on my brush or something. Or, who knows. There isn't always a reason why things bleed. I mean, I know that seems silly, like there should be a reason why things bleed, but sometimes when you're working with cardstock, there really isn't a reason. It's having a bad day. And the weather's been really weird too, so things aren't going to dry as much as I want them to before I move on to the next step. Like, definitely your brush should be damp and stuff, but sometimes things are just gonna behave strangely. Referencing my previous work to see where I put things before, because that's what my mom wanted. She wanted the same thing. So I'm trying to keep things similar. Okay. We'll do a small bit of shrubbery in the corner too. I didn't do that before, but I kind of like that idea. A little bit of shrubbery in the corner. Just a little bit of water. That was too much. Okay. It's really hard sometimes to get the right amount of water on those little tiny brushes. I'm definitely due for a trip to the art store though. It's hard when the art store is so far away from where you're currently living. This didn't blend out the way I wanted it to. I'm going to try to adjust that. a little bit. Got that weird line going on there. That was bizarre. Wonder why it did that. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm gonna let those fully dry for a bit. What my time like? Okay. So keeping an eye on the time. I'm gonna let this sit to the side because I would like to practice with some wrapping. So these are some, sorry, for a second there I thought I got water on my desk. Oak desks, it would not be the drawing. Yeah, drawing's hard. Some reason why I do watercolor, not graphite. Don't know if I could do a full drawing. That would be difficult. Challenging, definitely challenging. Hats off to everyone who does drawings. Very hard. So I'm going to take some bookmark blanks, and I'm going to use these to help practice wrapping up these bookmarks for when things are ready later on. For right now, we're just going to use those though, because I think that will be just fine. And then if we end up liking how things work out, we can always use whatever we made and just sort of slip them back out. So I've got some brown paper here. I kind of like this color. And I kind of like how it crinkles. I think it adds some interesting texture here. And then we're gonna sort of layer this on top as like kind of a wrapped ribbon. So these will just kind of go inside. And then I thought it might be kind of fun to add a little bit of embellishment. What did I do with my hemp? I might have to dodge out here to grab my hemp because it doesn't seem like I put that to the side. Oh, nope, I see it off to the side here. Excuse me moi as I sort of awkwardly reach. I see it, but I can't reach it. Hold on. Awkwardly moving things around. Why can't I see you? It's so bizarre. I can tell that it's there. Goodness gracious. Oh, that's why. Duh. I'm just blind. Okay. Pardon me in my awkward reaches as I'm sitting on my paper. Okay. It's Saturday, guys. Okay. So, the first thing I'm going to do here is get this water out of the way so I don't spill it. That would be bad. Is I'm going to start measuring things to make sure that they're all going to end up being the right length. So I'm pretty sure that these bookmarks are a true 2x6. That's what I purchased way back in the day. But sometimes it's not like a true. Okay, yeah, that is 2 inches by, it's just shy of 6. But we're going to cut it as if it's 6 because I think that will be fine. And then, oh good, I do have some straight edges here. I always kind of hate cutting things when there isn't a proper straight edge. It just makes things kind of annoying. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down. Let's see. I feel like I don't have enough space today. The one thing about washi paper is sometimes it does kind of pill in weird ways. Have you, any of you all kind of noticed that? Sometimes there's like this weird pilling. Hold on, I think I need a darker marker. 6 inches is good. Yes, it will be. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. You'll see why. Oh, good, silver. Yes, that will show up. Yes, you'll see what I mean because what we're going to do is it's sort of going to look a bit like those kind of old-fashioned invitations where they take the vellum and they just sort of wrap. So we're not going to do it like a true Christmas gift wrapping where you sort of tuck the ends and you do all the fancy stuff. All we're going to do is sort of take them and sort of like put them in the middle and go bloop, bloop. So I wanted to know exactly the dimensions of the bookmark so that I knew the length would be 6 inches. And then we're basically just going to take and multiply the 2 inches over and make sure that it folds exactly the way that I want it to. Actually, Yeah, sorry. I was like, am I saying this in a way that makes any remote sense whatsoever? Probably not, but good. I'm glad that that made sense. Actually, because this is the first time I'm doing this with the bookmarks, I've done this with dirt journals and different other things, but I haven't done this with a bookmark. And I'm realizing this is more of a purple. Weird. I thought this was brown. But under the lighting, it now looks purple to me. Random. Okay, and I want this slightly longer than a true 4 inches, so I'm probably going to just sort of eyeball it. We'll call it to there. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. So now that I know I'm probably going to go about there, I just want to see how far that is. Okay. How far did... We're going to call it, just so I get a true straight edge, we're going to call it 5. Because that's really, what? I don't know, an 1/8 of an inch difference. Doesn't really matter. Okay, and that way I know I'm going to get a nice straight line for cutting things down. Alright, and going this way, I know that I need at least 6 inches. So I'm going to come up. I've always kind of hated this ruler, but it is perfect size for this kind of stuff. There we go. And then I'll know exactly where to stop. Okay. Stop with all my dots. Do. I kind of miss my cutting board, but I don't know where it wandered off to. These things happen. Okay, and I do kind of like using these kind of silver reflex because they show up really good on the light. And then they're really easy to see. I don't know if you noticed that every now and again I'm doing like the old school, like the V-cut kind of measurement. You don't have to do it that way. Most people don't. I don't think it really matters. But my dad's in construction and I just kind of grew up doing it that way. Actually, before I finish that line, I want to make sure I'm totally straight. I probably should have kept going across with my dots before I started cutting. You know what they say, measure twice, cut once. But sometimes I don't listen. I'm just a little worried about not cutting a true straight line. So I'm just gonna do some extra dots here. I sometimes can't quite eyeball a straight line when I'm doing paper. So I'm just gonna add a couple dots here. There we go. That should help me out. Yes, stretch and hydrate. I should have brought some water over. I should do that in a second. Good reminder. Thank you, Apollo. Okay, there. Ta-da. Okay, and I no longer need this. All right. And I just want to make sure that I did, in fact, cut that exactly how I wanted it to. Oh yes, tons of extra space. Excellent. Okay, good. And while I'm thinking about it, nice big water bottle. Can trade out that coffee. Don't need coffee. I can go on the floor. Okay. Now you can go in the coffee spot. Okay. Shoe paper. All right. So that can go on the side. Let's see. There's my roll. So this is kind of just scrap paper I had lying around, but I really like how it's got like these little, will that show up? Yeah, these little glittery kind of dots on it. It kind of goes with anything. So, same thing. I'm going to measure out, it's got this weird crinkle on it, so I'm going to go this way actually. Don't want that crinkle there. Measuring tool. And this time I'm actually going to go slightly longer than that 5 inches because I want to be able to kind of wrap it. I forgot to stretch. That's true, I did. But I have been sitting pretty straight right now, and since I'm on the bed, I know I've got a weird art strut up. Because I'm on the bed, I don't want to stretch out my back and stuff because I have kind of a weird back thing going on, and I'm gonna wait until I'm on like a nice solid flat surface to stretch that out. That way I don't do anything wonky on accident, because I'm kind of like the wonky on accident person. So I feel like stretching on the bed would just be an accident waiting to happen. Oh, but I should stretch out my palms actually. That's a good point. So I'm just going to make sure all the ligaments in my fingers are nice, and because I have been holding a brush for like, oh, I don't know, an hour and a half. So I can do that. Sorry, random text messages. I moved my phone so I wouldn't stare at it every time it went off, and then I just like went and did it anyways. Silly me. Okay. What was I doing? Okay, so I'm probably gonna do 5 3/4. I feel like that's long enough for a nice wrap. I don't want it necessarily very thick, so let's see. Do I feel like an inch is long enough? Oh yeah, an inch is long enough for this one. Wide enough. An inch is wide enough for this one. Okay, so I'm just gonna measure up about an inch. That's a little crooked. Don't want to cut crooked. Okay. This one's going to be a little more annoying to cut. This is probably the point where I'd probably get out all the fancy tools and do like the whole like cow pull and whatnot, but that way I get a true straight edge, but I don't want to have to do that right now. So we'll be just fine like this. I'm going to cut nice and slow and we'll be fine. There we go. Okay. Alright, so we're just going to follow those lines. It really wants to curve today. I'm kind of worried about that. We shall see. We shall see. There we go. Oh, nice. Okay. Hold on. It fell in a weird spot. Come back. Yes. Okay. So we've got a nice little kind of ribbon here going on. We've got a nice straight line to that. Okay. So we've got all of our pieces in place so far. See over there. Okay. So I haven't opened this up just yet. The usual double-sided stick tape that I like, they didn't have it in stock the other day, so we're gonna try a new one. Fingers crossed, and see how it goes. And if I don't like it, well, we learned something new, didn't we? Okay, so I'm just gonna I always kind of forget where my positioning is when I'm doing stuff that isn't watercolor. So feel free to call me out if at any point you're like, hey, I can't see what's on camera. And then I'll just sort of adjust. Okay, so I want to make sure I've got this nice and centered here. And I'm going to go ahead and sort of start by putting that down. Okay. And I think you just peel. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Yes, you do just peel. Haha, that was easy. Okay. So I'm going to start by that. And it should just... Oh, I see what I did there. Huh. Oh, nope, I was right. Huh. Do trust your instincts. Instincts are correct. Okay. I do know things. All right, there we go. And I wanted this to come around like this. That way, when everything kind of folds together, there's like a nice, neat little kind of seal going on. It'd be kind of cute. Okay. And I want to make sure all my ends kind of line up nice and neatly. Yeah. There we go. So it kind of looks like there's like he's got a tie. Sorry, I'm a little bit of a dork. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of stick tape on that side as well. That way it's not shuffling around. Oh goodness. Well, the stick tape works really well, but it's kind of annoying to... My old one I didn't have to do that. Peel off all those little tiny whatchamacallits. So that part's kind of obnoxious. Okay. But whatever. Okay. So at this point, I can pretty much just put my bookmarks inside. And then it would fit like this. Okay. And then when the time comes, I would just put stick tape all along the edge here. And then hemp will go kind of like around this outside corners, the outside like little tie we made there. And then I don't know what you all think, because I did only do like a 1-inch band. That was the word I was looking for. My brain wanted to go with tie for some reason. That's not correct. I think I will clean up this edge. There's kind of like a weird little loop there. But I wondered what you all were thinking about having there be like one of those wax seals on top of that. I think it might be too big, but it would be kind of cute, have like a little wax seal, and then maybe like one of these little leaves, bloop, on top. I will think about it. I'll see what I think about that, but that might be kind of cute in the end. So that's what that would look like. So I'm gonna finish that up when the bookmarks are ready. That way I can put those all in there. But I will put a picture up when the time comes of what it will all look like. So these are, I'm still playing with the fuzzies. So those are drying at this point, so you can kind of see like where the rocks are starting to form in and the waters and things. I do need to put in quite a bit more of the shrubbery, obviously. And I do need to put in some more of my rock formations, but we've got a nice strong foundation here, and it will definitely be finished before Mother's Day tomorrow. But I do need to let it sit and kind of dry for a little bit longer. And honestly, I need some breakfast. I need some proper breakfast now. So I'm going to sign off you guys and call it a morning. But thank you all for hanging out with me and helping me create my little bookmark sleeves, and helping me with my watercolors and chatting and asking me lots of amazing questions. I do not have a Discord. Sorry about that. That's a great question. I should probably get started with that now that we have so many amazing friends hanging out with us. Sadly, no Discord. There is an Instagram. So there's links on the main Twitch page that have the YouTube, the Instagram, and the Etsy shop if you're interested. Sadly, no Discord. So that one's just not my jam. But you're welcome to come join us on Instagram if you'd like to. I do tons of watercolor stuff and sometimes some silly stuff, and so you're welcome to come hang out and join there, but no Discord. Sorry, friends. At least not yet. You never know. If we get a big enough group of friends hanging out with us week to week, I might just make some Discord stuff and get us all in there and doing art stuff throughout the week. And hey, you never know. I never say never. It's just not right now. But Instagram, definitely come join us on Instagram or YouTube. I'm not very good with the YouTube, but we're working on it. So yeah. Anyways, hope you all have a lovely weekend. Thank you for chatting and saying hi. And I don't know if I'll stream during the week very much, but definitely join us on Friday. We'll have a new Tales of Adventure story in watercolors, and we are heading into the African continent for a trickster tale. So hopefully I will see you all then. Until then, have a lovely weekend, and I will see you all later.